Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, last week we discussed about, we actually did an introduction to UI and UX, and these are some of the topics we covered. Introduction, UX process in detail, and also UI design with Figma. So these are the course content for each 5 weeks. Actually, these are the things that we already covered. We talked about what is UI and UX briefly, and I showed you a few UX job roles and salaries and the industry, and what is your career path will be, and so on. And then we discussed about some essential UI and UX technical skills and how you can improve. And then we discussed how to think like a UX designer. I introduced you a book called Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman. And finally, we discussed what is UX portfolio and how to build one. We talked about how to create a portfolio using Dribble or even Behance, or how to create your own portfolio using HTML, CSS, or any website making software. So let's move on to today's session. Today we are going to talk about UX design process. So prior to that, if you have any questions regarding last week sessions or the topics we covered last week, you can ask or send a message as well. All right. So these are the things that we are going to discuss today. First, we are going to discuss what is UX process and methods we are using in the process, and then how to apply the UX design process practically. What is empathy and why is it so important in design thinking? And then user interviews and competitor analysis, and also creating personas and creating user flows. So those are really important parts in UX process. And also if we take further, like in the third session, these are the UX process part 2. So we are probably going to discuss about these next week. We are going to discuss about color psychology and color theory, as well as typography, style guide, UX laws, and creating wireframes. So that is for the next session, but it's under the same topic, UX process. All right. All right. What is your design process? How you start the design? So if I ask one of you this question, so even if you don't have any design projects right now, I think some of you are working on IT or software field. So let's say now when client come up with a project idea, what is the process? How are you going to initiate it, and what are the steps that you follow to create a project before you start developing it or the shipping it to the market? If I ask someone, anyone can answer in the team. Aisha, uh, Rishad, Fatima, or Pumi. Any idea how you normally approach a software project or any kind of a project?
Uh, as my experience, I think first we should know the requirement properly first.
Mm-hmm.
Then only we can start the project and create what is the process start to end. Then we have a clear idea about that.
Okay, okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right. In design also, we follow a process. Actually, following a process is really important because, as Aisha also mentioned, we have a clear idea about what is the project is about, what are the requirements that client is giving us, and also we have to follow the process to understand and empathize with our users, and then also creating wireframes and finally do the design steps. So if you follow this process correctly, you will be able to come up with a good final product that we can launch to the market and get our investment will pay back. So in order to do this kind of a design, UX designers or UX professionals also follow a process called UX process. So there are several methods, like in project development also, in software development also, we follow different project management methodologies like agile or waterfall or anything. Most of the times in the software, in the creative industry, UX design or UI design, we follow agile because as I mentioned last week also, the designing is not a linear process, so we won't be able to follow waterfall or any other older or traditional project management methods. So we are always following agile most of the time. So in agile also we have different like sets, like we have different ways of doing design projects. For an example, we can do a design sprint. So design sprint is something like this. So we have an agenda. Like for an example, for requirement gathering, we are going to spend 1 week. To interview users, we are going to spend another week, and so on. So we have different tasks for each week, but we prioritize them in the most important order, and then we follow those steps. And also there are other process that introduced by Design Council, which is called Double Diamond. So we are going to talk about them in detail during this session as well. So even if you do UI and UX, even in graphic design or print design or anything, advertising or anything, we have to follow a process. So first is to gather requirements. So if you have a precise and clear requirement you gathered from your client, it will be really beneficial. Otherwise, you won't be able to follow up. So you don't have any blueprint to follow. What are the requirements? What are the deliverables? What is the deadline? What is the budget of this project? How should I allocate different resources to this project? So having a good idea about all this is really important in any creative project. It can be a advertising project or graphic design or social media design, any project. So in UX also, it is really important to have a like design process in hand. So what is UX design process? A UX design process is an iterative step-by-step methodology UX teams use to complete projects. So as I mentioned, when we come up with when client come up with an idea, even in a startup or well-established company, this is the normal process that we have to follow. So we starting off with empathizing with users. So in order to do that, we should have a clear requirement, and then we should understand who are our end users are. So understanding end users' goals, what are the expectations they have, what are the uh, obstacles they are facing in daily life. So in order to find solutions to these problems, you have a clear idea about your end users as well. So empathizing, you can do it in different ways. For an example, you can interview few users and ask them questions like we can ask qualitative or quantitative questions. For an example, we can ask what are the application, what are the things that they uh, do in daily life. So let's say we are trying to build a ride sharing application. So we can ask how is their day, what are their daily tasks? So how are they traveling to their office or school or anywhere? And we can like create customized questions based on our end product and ask them questions. And next thing we can do is we can do one-to-one interviews without asking questions or giving them a questionnaire to fill. We can ask and like talk to them and ask few questions, or we can chat about some like softwares that, yeah, they are currently using to do the same thing, and so on. And then again we can like after creating the after doing these interviews, we get an idea about what our users expectations are and how we can accommodate those expectations in our particular software or a mobile application we are developing, and then we are going to define them. So in the defining process, what we can do is we like document some things that we have learned. So for an example, if we're doing an interview, we are going to analyze all these interview questions and the answers users are giving, and we have a good idea about what each and every user. So we extract what users give us as an input, and we only put important things in this particular step, and then we ideate. So in the ideation process, what we do is uh, in the defining, we are creating user personas and user journey, affinity mapping, and everything comes under defining phase. And then we ideate. So in the ideation process, what we have to do is we are creating wireframes based on the input we already have. So if you have a good understanding about all these users and as well as your competitors. So for an example, I took ride sharing application. So the competitors can be other ride sharing applications such as Uber and PickMe. So in that case, you have to uh, create a competitor analysis and understand what are the pros and cons of these applications and get all the good things and put them in your applications and eliminate all the negative feedbacks that users are giving to these particular applications. So you have to consider several applications. So no, if you are at least you have to compare two or three or uh, up to five different platforms that providing ride sharing services. And then after ideation, we're creating wireframes in the ideation process. Actually, wireframes are also have like three different categories. For an example, we can create pencil and paper sketch wireframes. So we call them low fidelity wireframes. And then we have mid fidelity wireframes that we can create using software like Figma Jam or Pencil Tool or Ballasmic. So we can present these to our users as well as our stakeholders or clients to get their feedback. And then finally, we have high fidelity wireframes, which is not the final prototype, but we are going to implement all the structure and the hierarchy of data and how they represent in our screens in this high fidelity wireframes. So that comes under IDS section. So you can see that there are arrows going back and forth. So some users first start with empathize and then going to prototype, and even after prototype, we have to again ideate and so on. So this is an iterative process. That is why we have to go back and forth in each of these steps. So in the prototyping, what we do is from the wireframes we already created, we are creating prototypes. So prototypes, so in this case, we are going to create it using Figma or any other design tools such as Adobe XD or even Sketch app we can use to create prototype. So in the prototyping process, we are going to like give more details to our wireframes. So we are going to decide on colors that we are going to use in our application and also the typography and different graphics in our application. So everything, every creative like colors, typography, and graphics and everything comes under this prototyping. So in the prototyping, it is also having three types of prototypes: low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. So final prototype will be the high fidelity prototype, which can be a click-through prototype. So users will be able to interact with it. So it is kind of like an actual application, but it don't have a backend or any functionalities running in the backend. But like overall look will be there, look and feel will be there, the front end. The design will be working. So users can click through it and interact with it without connecting it to the backend. So we will be able to screen record and get understanding about how users interact with different parts of our screens, and it will give a proper idea. So is our design really good? Is it user friendly? Are users making any mistakes? So we can figure out by watching these screen recordings or there are softwares that will create heat maps and things like that, and we can analyze all this and get an understanding about the flaws in our designs or anything like that. And finally, when we done with the prototype, so it is also an iterative process. So if the prototypes are not good, so if the users are not doing what they are expecting to do, what we are expecting to do, we have to go back and ideate, or maybe we have to gather requirement all over again. So we have to do that to fine tune our prototype. And finally, when everything is okay and we get the client approval as well as we get the good feedback, good satisfaction from our users as well, we can test that idea. So we can create or give it to the developers, and they will start building the application. So even after they building the application, we have to again install that particular application in our local devices and try out these applications and find out if there's any use of UX errors or use how we can improve the design. And finally, we can launch it to the market. So even if we launch it to the market, the designer's job is not over. We have to keep tracking. We have to keep watching the recordings that users, how users interact with our screens, and come up with a better solutions or come up with better ideas to streamline our process to our users' uh, desires and end goals that they are having. All right. So that is the normal UX uh, step-by-step methodology UX teams use to complete the projects. First empathize, then define, ideate, prototype, and test. Okay. So in here, we have the empathize same process, but in a different presentation. So first we have to do is we have to understand the problem existence. So most of the time in this space, we understand why we need to create an application. So even if you do particular application, so even if it is a design project or a development project, you should ask the first thing that you should start off with, you should ask the question, why are we developing this? So if there's an is there any requirement? Are we trying to solve a problem that users are already facing? Or is this something that we really spend our time on, invest our time and money? So you should ask this question before you start off with your design or development process. Is this really required? Or we can understand why we need to create an application. Then we go to research phase. In this phase, we conduct surveys, interviews, find out competitor details. So in the research phase, after we asking this question and have a proper idea about why we are developing it, we then go to the research phase to understand who our users are and what are their requirements and what are the competitors, who are the competitors that we have. So all this comes under research phase. And then after gathering those requirements, we are going to analyze them. So in the analyzing phase, we analyze the raw information about uh, information we have found by using competitor analysis, creating personas, customer journey maps. So after research phase, we analyze all the data all the raw data we already collected. And by analyzing those, we create personas. Persona is something like, let's say, we interviewed 10 different people. One of them, let's name him as Tom. So we create a different persona for this particular person, Tom, and we put his picture and his name, his age, his biography, some of his background information, his likes and dislikes. How is he going to use this application? What are the things that he is expecting, and what are the things that he don't like? Likewise, we are going to create a persona. So persona creation also we are going to discuss today as well. And then we are going to customer journey map. So we have, as I said, we have 10 different users. So we have to create 10 different journey maps for each of these users. So for an example, let's say we are going to create a banking application. So I take three examples. So one user can be a student who is trying to pay his tuition fees to his institute. The another user can be a working professional. He's trying to transfer money to some of his vendors or things like that. The third user can be a freelancer. He's trying to convert US dollars and get a best rate for his foreign currency. So three different user stories. So you have to create individual journey maps for each of these users. So they can, one user story can be like this. They download the application and open the application and sign up. And then the freelancer, he will try open his RFC or foreign currency account, and then he try to convert that money to local currency. So he is following a completely different step. And the student, he's getting money from his parents in his account, and then he withdraw that particular amount from the bank, and he want to access the application to see how what is the balance he is having uh, to follow up. And then the other user who is trying to pay vendors, he need more detailed view. So he should be able to generate reports to send his vendors that the payment is already done, the confirmation messages and everything should be there. So you have to create journey maps for each of these users. And then we have wireframes and designs. So after you create all these creating personas and journey maps, it will really help you to create wireframes as well, because you have a clear idea about what are the steps that users follow in particular given scenarios. So wireframes and design, in this space, we create user flows, high level and low level wireframes. So journey maps will help you to create different user flows as well. So user flow can be similar up until one stage. For an example, all users have to download the application and go to open the application and go through the onboarding process where we have information about what the application can do. Then all of them have to sign up by inputting their email address or phone number or OTP or anything. So after that, their user flow can be different. Some of them may use dashboard to view their transaction. Some of them want to perform an action, do a transaction. Some of them want to pay a utility bill. So those user flows you have to create as well. And we then create low-level wireframes, which can be pencil and paper wireframes. We can easily sketch out using uh, SketchOut. Or if you want to present these wireframes to your stakeholders or clients or even users to get feedback, we have to do it in a software, or we have to create more detailed wireframes. And finally, after wireframe step, we have to do visual design and finally testing. In this space, we create designs for application with the feedback we have taken from the wireframes. The visual designs are again shown to the client or put them to test again to understand the applicability of the solution, and then roll back to the any stage or proceed to implementation. So as I said, even after we complete all this process, we are going to present these visual designs to our stakeholders as well as users. So if they like the designs, or if there's any like if there is very minor design changes that they are suggesting, we can do it easily. If not, we have to go back to our previous steps and iterate our process. Like we have to gather requirements again, we have to understand our users and their problems again, and then we have to do the wireframes and again the visual design. And finally, if everything is all right, we can do the testing. So we can uh, send it to our developers to develop the particular application, as I mentioned. So we are going to discuss about each of these steps now. First, we are going to discuss about empathize. Okay, what is empathize? Empathizing is understanding your users. We have to understand what are the problems they have, what they need, what they expect from our application, and what they think about our application, and what are the problems in the existing apps. So all of these things we have to consider. Question number one, what problems they have. So first, as I mentioned here, also, first we have to understand if there's any problem. So we, as a designers, we are trying to solve problems. If there's no any issue with the application or anything, if there's no any requirement, we don't have to design or develop any solution. So first thing is to understand what are the problems users have. and what they need, what are their expectations, how they like our application to be. So we have to understand that as well. And then what they expect from your application. So most of these users have prior experience. For an example, let's say in banking application, they have most of us have prior experience by visiting to bank and fill out their forms and stay in the queue and do the transaction. And also with the CDM machines, we have experience. We still have to stay in the queue, and there are some like personal issues as well, because people can see whatever the amount we are transferring. We have to carry that of money with us as well. So uh, we can create like creating an application will solve all these issues. You don't have to visit particular physical bank, and you can do it anywhere where you have your application and your phone. And then what they expect from your application and what they think about your application. So after you launching your application, or after you have an idea about your application, you can ask different questions. If it is a already existing application, you can follow your application's Google reviews or Apple App Store or Google Play Store reviews to get an idea about feedback. So most of these applications have feedback, like inbuilt feedback as well. So you can send feedback to the development team. So we can get an idea about what users think about our application as well. So where it is in the market. Is it a competitive application? Are there any better applications than this? And so on. And number 5, what are the problems in existing apps? So that is kind of like a competitor analysis. So you can use any other application. Let's say in the banking application, you can use any other bank applications and see how all these applications are performing. Are those user friendly? Are those fast? Is the interactions are good? And so on. So you will get a first-hand like experience about all these applications as well. And also you will be able to follow their Google Play Store, Apple App Store reviews to get an idea about what users think about these applications as well. Maybe you can ask questions during interview regarding other applications they are using, and so on. So that is empathizing. So in empathizing, as I mentioned, this is a most effective method that UX designers are using, user interview. So you invite one of your users, your potential users, to your office or any other neutral place, and you interview them regarding the application. You can ask different questions. If you have a like low prototype you created using sticky notes or uh, half sheets or A4s, you can present it to them, and you can ask them to perform some task using this particular paper prototype, and you can see them in action as well. So that is the number one way to uh, interview users and get empathize with them. If you have good communication skills and good interpersonal skills, this is really good for someone with those skills. And these are some interview questions that you can come up with. So the example I'm using is to create a bicycle riding app. So they can track their daily routes, and they can track their burning calories and so on. So this is the interview questions that tailored to that particular application. So number 1 can be, why do you ride a bicycle? Number 2, what do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? Do you use any other bicycle tracking app? If it is yes, what are they? What are the problems in that app? What features you need to have in your application? So those are the interview questions that we can ask in this particular scenario for this bicycle riding app. Do you have any questions up until now?
No, it's all good.
All good.
Okay, cool. So number 1, why do you ride a bicycle? So users might answer, because I want to look fit and healthy. Another user can say, I want to keep track of the places I travels and improve on the time I spent for cycling. Next user can say, I want to feel motivated while cycling. I like to share my interest in cycling with my friends and encourage them to take part while having friendly competitions with fellow cyclists. I want to be updated with today's trends and wear decent outfits. I used to travel short distance. So these are some answers that users have given to the question, why do you ride a bicycle? So you can see some of them trying to be healthy and some of them trying to avoid spending, and some of them is motivated when cycling, and some of them are into fashion, and the last one is traveling short distances, so that is why he is using a bicycle, ride a bicycle. All right. Question number 2 is, what do you expect from a bicycle tracking app? So these are the answers that users have given. Number 1, discover the best cycling routes. Save and share your favorites. Get inspired to reach new cycling goals. Track your fitness with Trip Cycling Activity Tracker. Record routes. Map your favorite bike trial or run. Analyze your training with all the stats. So number 1, discover the best cycling routes. So you can get an idea like what are the functions that you need in the applications by referring to these answers. So number 1 can be you actually need a map in your cycling application. Save and share your favorites. So there should be a shareable component as well. Get inspired to reach new cycling goals. So application should provide a way to set goals as well. Track your fitness with a Trip Cycling Activity Tracker. So if you like into fitness, if you have a, let's say, a wearable like Apple iWatch or something like that, even Fitbit, you can track, like you can sync it to the application and use it as an activity tracker. So you can find out how many calories I burned, how much I have to burn in daily life, how long I have to ride to burn this particular amount of calories and so on. You can do it by like connecting that particular wearable to your application as well. And next person want to record routes and map your favorite bike trial or run and analyze your training with all the stats. So those are the requirements, what users expect from a bicycle tracking app. Number 3, do you use any other bicycle tracking app? If it is yes, what are they? So bicycle tracking apps are not popular in Sri Lanka actually. So if you Google one of these applications, most of them are used in Europe or any other developed countries, cycling, Strava, bike map, and so on. So in Singapore, actually, we also have like bicycle riding apps, and we have bicycle pools where we can walk to that bicycle, and there will be a mobile application, and we can like scan particular QR code, and bicycle will unlock, and you can take the bicycle to whatever the place that you want to visit, and you can again scan the QR code and do the payment online and keep the bicycle there and move on with your daily life. So we can't implement that kind of a solution in Sri Lanka because you all know what will happen to the bicycles as well. So you have to check the market fit as well when you're creating an application. Number 4, what are the problems in that particular application? Issues with tracking. So they are talking about these applications that they are already using. So it might have issues with tracking, OS compatibility, too much facts, rapid app development, trouble placing a challenge. So issues with tracking, it can be due to network issues or cellular reception issues, kind of like that, or even the application's bugs or something like that. OS compatibility is not much of an issue right now because we only have two main operating systems for phone, iOS and Android. So when you are developing an application, make sure to create designs and develop applications for both these platforms, because right now we have more iOS users, but Android users are also there. It's kind of like 60 to 40. So you have to make sure you do your designs for both of these applications as well. Too much facts. So if your applications are like prompting too many facts and too many advertisements that users also don't require, it is actually distracting for users to use your application. For an example, let's say when you are trying to give so many statistics and so many information about health, and also promote so many articles and so many advertisements of products and outfits, it is really bothering users and their user experience while using this application. So make sure only implement the necessary things, and the users will use your application again and again. Otherwise, they will try to find a better solution with less distractions. Because at the end of the day, most of these users not trying to stay in your product for like a social media platform like Facebook or any. So you don't have to distract them. If your application is flawless and giving them all the information that they really necessary to ride bicycle from point A to point B, this is how many calories you burned, and this is the path you took other day, and so on. So all the necessary information should be there, and avoid prompting them with unnecessary information. And rapid app development is not something the users face. It is something that developers and the teams will face actually. So when you have an idea, let's say you have an idea to create a bicycle riding application. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to follow the process, and you have to interview users, requirement analysis, as well as then you have to do competitor analysis and come up with the idea, wireframes, and then prototype and get user feedback. And you did everything, but you have to check the market fit and all as well. So if you're taking so much of time to do all these things, some other competitor will have an advantage, or there's no requirement anymore. So you started this process 3 months ago, and then suddenly the prices of oil or petrol or any other electricity has dropped. So users have no interest to ride bicycles anymore. So they can take their cars and go to work. So you have to be fast in order to launch your product to the market. Otherwise, it will waste your time and money. So rapid application development is really important to test your ideas. So in testing ideas, actually we call like in Agile, we call it MVP. MVP is kind of like a minimum viable product, where we ship our product with minimum features that users will use. So you don't have to put all the features that you think that users will need. If you want to check your idea, you have to put minimum product and launch as quickly as possible. So you will get feedback from users, and you can either pivot, or you can add more features to your applications on the go. So that is the best strategy nowadays if you are launching an application, even if you are designing an application. And the next one is trouble placing a challenge. So this user want to place challenges in the application. So there's no features in any of these applications to accommodate his requirement. So that is the problem that user is facing. All right, what features you need to have in your application? So these are some suggestions that users have given that what they expect to have in the application. Discover the best cycling routes. Save and share your favorites. Get inspired to reach new cycling goals. Track your fitness with Trip Cycling Activity Tracker. Record routes. Map your favorite bike trial or run. Analyze your training with all the stats. Track how much you save your money and fuel by using a bicycle. Buy bicycle parts. Use for short distance travels. Keep a to-do list and reminders. So number one, discover the best cycling routes. So it is actually, I don't have to explain it to you. It is self-explaining itself. So let's talk about competitor analysis. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, competitor analysis. So in order to create a good product, we have to learn and study about our competitors as well. So what is competitive analysis? So one of the critical steps when developing a new product is finding out where you stand with the competition. So as I mentioned, if you are creating a ride sharing app, you have to do competitor analysis. So in that way, you will get an idea about where you stand. Is this a good product to launch in this country or this for this demographic? Are our expectations correct? So you can test by doing this competitor analysis. And then competitive analysis is a necessary part of the design process to help businesses gain valuable insight into the market, identify the strengths and weaknesses of their products, and develop effective product strategies to create winning results. So it is really important if you want to create a good, marketable and successful product to the market. Competitor analysis or competitive analysis. So why conduct competitive analysis in UX design? So these are the reasons why we do competitive analysis in particularly in UX. So assess where your product or design stands in the market. So let's say you don't do any competitor analysis and you just launch a product. This is a ride sharing application like Pick Me and Uber, and you're launching this application to the market, and you don't have any idea about what are the services that other competitors are providing, what is their user base, how users like it, what are the things that users don't like. So you don't have any idea about this. So your time and money will you have no idea about anything about where your product even stand in the market. So it is actually not a good idea to do something like that without a competitor analysis. So make sure to at least study about 2 or 3 competitors before you come up with a before you even start off with your designs or the UX process. Define any gaps in the market. So let's say same scenario, the ride sharing app, you did a competitor analysis and you identify few gaps in the market. For an example, uh, let's say Pick Me and Uber don't provide services in some areas in the country. For an example, they only have services in certain areas like Western Province, Southern Province, and also Central Province. So you can launch an application that focuses on some other area, like uh, that you think that users will use the technology and the application. Yeah. So that is a good way to fill a market gap. And also during rush hours, it is really hard to find a ride during the rush hours. So if you can find a solution to that problem, that is a one way to fill the market gap. And also, let's say there are some of the riders are not very professional. So if you can fill that market gap, your application will be used by most of the users. Then know the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. So good way to start off this is to follow their Google or Apple App Store reviews. So most of the users, when they don't like the application, they put a review. So most of them, even if you launch an application, most of the reviews that you get are negative reviews, because most of us don't put a review if we get a application to do what we really like. If we have frustrated experience, if we don't like what we received, or if we don't like the experience, interactions with the particular rider, or if someone is rude to us, we are going to put a review. So that is, you have to understand that applications can be good, and these are the some things that users pointing out. These are the weaknesses of the competitors. So first, like, good place to start is their Apple App Store or Google Play Store reviews, and then you can follow their social media streams, and also you can get first-hand experience by using the application and try to book a ride and experience it yourself, and also interview few users who use these particular applications in daily life. And identify the advantages and disadvantages of your products. So then you can compare those strengths and weaknesses of the competitors and identify advantages we can give. So are we addressing those weaknesses in our applications? Are we eliminating those weaknesses in our application? So you can analyze all this by identifying advantages and disadvantages in your present product. Have evidence to back up your design changes. So if it is, let's say, it is already existing application and you have to revamp your design, because most of the users are complaining about the design flows and the user, it is not user friendly, and there will be some accessibility issues in the application. So you are trying to find out a better presentation for the UX and give more streamlined user experience to your users. So in that case, when you are trying out different designs, you should have evidence to back up your design changes. For an example, you always make sure to rationalize your design. So for let's say you put a search bar on top or somewhere. So you always have to tell that your design team or the stakeholders, this is the idea behind putting the search bar in this particular place. And you can give examples like this particular application, Uber or Lyft or anything, Grab is using this search function in this particular place and users like it. So that is why I'm using the same thing. And you can tell, let's say you minimize the interactions. Like for an example, in Pick Me application, there are so many things in one place, and you have to, some of the time users get confused, because when we provide users with so many choices, they are like, don't choose what they want. It is really hard for them to choose what they want. So if we fine tune that particular product and customize it based on the user's requirement, we can give them a better user experience. So you can come up with this kind of a design and rationalize the process, and you can tell your stakeholders or the team members, this is the idea behind this particular design, and we can test this idea when we launch in the application. So always make sure you have evidence to back up your design changes. Helps you solve usability issues. So in competitor analysis, it helps you to solve usability issues, because most of these companies already done analysis about their usability and so on. So you can just experience this application and maybe read a review online or any others, someone else's portfolio, and you can get an idea, and you can do your research based on those competitors as well. So it will help you to solve usability issues that users are facing by using this application, and you can make sure your users don't face the same issues. Okay, these are some steps to do a UX competitor analysis. Number one is to outline your goals and define your product. Number two, compile a list of your direct and indirect competition. So number one, outline your goals and define your product. Again, in the ride sharing application, so the goals can be different. So let's say for an example, we have two different users. Number one can be a person who trying to travel to office because his personal vehicle is not working, or his staff vehicle is not coming to pick him up. So in that case, the requirement for him is to get to the office quickly, because he might be already late. And another requirement, let's say another user, uh, the mother who wants to send his kid to school. So that requirement is different. She will consider about the safety, as well as so many things that you have to consider in that particular ride. So you have to outline each of these goals and define your product as a first step. Then compile a list of your direct and indirect competition. So direct competition can be other ride-sharing applications such as PickMe and Uber. Indirect competitions can be other took drivers or taxi services or even car rental services and so on. So those are the indirect competition. Create a comparison chart of the competition's product features. So then you have to analyze all this and create a comparison chart. So in x-axis, you can put all these competitors, Pitme, Uber, Kangaroo, or other taxi services, car rental services, public transport, and everything you can put in x-axis. And then on the y-axis, you can like create different columns based on different characteristics of each of these competitions. So features. Number one, it is easy to use. It has a mobile application, and the payment, how much they charge, what is the cost, and what is the is it safe, and so on. So you can tick, or you can either write whatever you think you get from these competitor analysis as well. So that is creating a comparison chart. So you can get a clear idea about where your product should stand when compared to other direct and indirect competition. Identify the differences between products. So even after creating comparison chart, you will get an idea about what are the differences between these products, who their end users are, who are they targeting. So you can get an idea about those, and then you can tailor your design to target whoever the users that you want to. And then summarize and present your findings. So the last step is also really important. Even if you do all your research and did your competitor analysis, if you don't like to present your research findings to your team or the clients or the stakeholders, they won't believe you, because even if you do spend so much of time and did your competitor analysis, you don't have any proof that these are the research channels you follow, these are the literature that you read regarding these particular applications and how you perform your research. So you should have proof to present these to your team or stakeholders. Summarize and present your findings. The graphics and the graphs and the visualizations will be really important when you are presenting. All right, now we are going to talk about creating personas. Okay. Persona generation is another important step in UX. What we do is, like, we don't get a chance to interview each and every user who will use our application. So in order to generalize this idea, what we do is we interview at least 5 to 10 users who we think that will be one of our end users. So these users can have different backgrounds. For an example, let's say one user can be a student, another is an office worker, another can be a mother, and so on. So these users have different backgrounds, and they will have different requirements and different user stories as well. So that is why we are creating personas. So what is a user persona? User personas are archetypical users whose goals and characteristics represent the needs of a larger group of users. Usually, a persona is presented in 1 or 2-page document. So we, as I said, we don't get a chance to interview all of the users. So that is why we are taking few users and think that this will be the main characteristics of other users as well. So when creating a persona, so these are things that personas will provide. Why are user personas important? It will help us to build empathy, and it will provide direction for making design decisions. And it also communicate research findings. Build empathy. So for an example, let's say we have these users here. We have 5 different users. And when creating a persona, I will show you an example. Okay, now we have this kind of a persona. So we add a picture of them and we give them a name and we put a slogan there to describe them, what their interest and everything. So when we read this particular persona, it is actually to create a like reading application or something like that. So we have some demographic information and the tech information about them and goals and frustrations. So these two are really important. And we have some reading habits and some favorite books. So if this is a ride sharing application, we will have a name and the slogan and some demographics and goals and frustrations and their riding or traveling habits and also some other applications that they are already using. So you can see the name here. So we have a like we name each of these users as well in our presentation. Let's say we have 5 different users. So in team meeting, you can communicate like if this user's name is Tom or something like that, you can tell that Tom's user story don't match with our user flow. So Tom won't like this idea or something like that. So you can everyone in the team knows who Tom is, knows who you are talking about. So it will give you better communication freedom as well. Communicate research findings. So build empathy also the same. So you can identify and you can build empathy among these users as well. So you will be able to think like that particular user when you do your designs or doing your wireframes or anything. Will this person like this idea? Will this person follow this particular user flow? Is this address this user's issue? So you can fine tune your design to address all these. Provide direction for making design decisions. So when most of the time when you are working on a UX design process, uh, if you are a freelancer or independent designer, you have to do all this yourself. But most of the cases, there will be, if it is a large scale project, you have to involve with some co-designers as well. So when in that case, you have to communicate and you have to make design decisions by discussing each and every pros and cons and considering each and every user. So it is also providing direction for making design decisions, even if you do independently or as a team. All right. Next, we have creating a user persona. So as I mentioned, we have a persona name and photo and demographics, gender, age, location, status, family, goals and needs, pain points, bits of personality, quote or slogan that captures the personality. So as I mentioned here, the slogan and some information about them. Some personas, it has like this kind of information, bio information, one of the quotes that they have provided. So these are the, so you can follow any of these templates and do your user persona based on the requirement and the scenario that you trying to address. Next, we have user flows. Any questions? All right. So after creating a user persona, you have a good idea about one particular user or set of users. And then we create user flows. User flow or a UX flow is a diagram that shows the path a user goes through when using a product from start point to the final interaction. So user flow is also really important. So in order to when after we create personas, we have to create user flow for user flows for each of these users. So user flows will help us to like uh, we can use it as a blueprint when we are doing our wireframes, and even we can take a print or we can create it in a whiteboard and follow up each and every step to streamline our user flows for our application. So if I show you a user flow example on internet, This is example user flow for a banking application. The first they start the application, then login, and then they have to correct if the login details are correct. We can prompt them to view account details and view balance. If it's not, we have to make them retry, and if correct, we have to password reset and so on. So these are some account related information and login and balance check information in a user flow. So this is the user flow diagram. So we have different like shapes here. So we use this kind of oval shape to start and end the process. Whereas when we have a design like decision making with a tree, like if it is a yes or no, we have this kind of a shape, and also we have a square in particular screen. So you will get an idea about that. Let's say, okay. So here we have a display. So these are display screens, and whereas this is decision right here, if it is correct or not. And then action is described in oval shape. So these are some standards. You don't have to follow exact same shape, but these are some standards that UX designers follow. So everyone follows the same design and same shapes. So it will be beneficial, and everyone will understand the language that you're trying to present in your diagrams. So creating user flows. What is a user flow? As I mentioned, it is a diagram that shows the path a user goes through when using your product from the start to the final interaction. Why user flow is important? It is an easy and fast way to visualize the process. So let's say you don't have a user flow and you have to think about it. Like for an example, in the banking application, you don't have like a hands-on printed or like user flow in a uh, visualize uh, visualizing whiteboard or anything. You just have to think and do your wireframes or anything like that. It will be really hard for you and your team members as well. So it helps you to visualize the process without even thinking about it. Allows to better learn your audience. So it is also allowing you to learn your audience by following each and every step, each and every design decision, each and every interaction that they follow, the decisions they make during the uh, user journey, and helps to eliminate malfunctions. So if there's any roadblocks or malfunctions or flaws in the uh, user flow, FLAW flows in the user flow. So you can eliminate all these malfunctions by referring to those user flows. And it will help you to communicate better as well. So you can communicate with your team members and get a, like you can point out this particular uh, step in the user flow and talk about it, and you can give your research findings to your team members as well as stakeholders of your application. So that is all in the UX process. So do you have any questions up until now? You can ask any questions regarding UX process and methods, how to apply, and personas, user flows, and everything. You can send a message as well if you have any question.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we completed UX process part 1. So these are the things that we discussed earlier. And this is UX process part 2. This is in this space we are going to discuss about color psychology and color theory, which is really important in visual design, and typography, which is also really important, and style guide, UX laws, and creating wireframes. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss now. So what is color psychology? It is a branch of psychology studying the influence of colors on human mood and behavior. The thing is that our mind reacts to colors while we are usually do not notice it. The moment our eyes perceive color, they connect with the brain, which gives signals to the endocrine system, releasing hormones responsible for the shifts in moods and emotions. So as we know, when we are using application, when we are interacting in daily life, the colors that we see, for an example, let's say the green color, it is bind to success or complete, something like that. And the red color, when you see that red color, you know the message it is giving, the danger, or you have to be cautious or something like that. And all these colors have different represent different human emotions. So the designers and the developers and the psychologists who came up these different color schemes studied about users and human behavior, and they know what are the colors that we should use in different applications and for different demographics and also for the end users. As I mentioned, this red color is universal, and you know, even if you are not in Sri Lanka, or even if you are in other country, this represent danger, or you have to be cautious. Even hospitals or any other places using this red color to represent that message. All right, meaning of colors. To convey the right tone, message, and call users to make the expected action, designers need to understand what colors mean and what reaction they evoke. So as I mentioned, every color like red, green, blue, yellow, or any other color, it binds to different human emotions. So you have to make sure you understand these human emotions and understand your end users and use these colors wisely in your designs to gain more users or make your product a successful one. Let's talk about red color. Red color usually associates with passionate, strong, or aggressive feelings. It symbolizes both good and bad states of mind and soul, including love, confidence, passion, and anger. In design, the use of red color is an effective way to draw users' attention. Also, it's recommended to use red sparingly to avoid negative reactions. So these are the human emotions that red color associates with passionate, strong, or aggressive feelings. It also symbolizes both good and bad states of mind, and it including love, confidence, passion, and anger. It gets draw users' attention. Let's say when you have an application and you have a red color button. So most of these applications, like for an example, let's say Instagram or Facebook, when you try to deactivate your account, even GitHub, when you try to delete some repository or something, it gives the button in red color. So you know that you have to be cautious about the action that you are trying to do. So they are using this red color to get more attention. So you have to perform it carefully, users attention. And it is not recommended to use red color, only red color in your designs. So you have to use it sparingly with other colors, maybe red and white or lighter shade of red and so on. So in this particular application, they are using red color for the onboarding screen. Maybe their branding color is red, and it will get users' attention to their onboarding process. And we can put this kind of a matching graphics to the background color. And so users will get an idea about what is their application is doing. As I mentioned, when we are filling a form, if there's an error, for an example, in this particular email address, there's an error. So we are prompting, we are highlighting it in red color, as well as we are giving them error message in red color to get their attention, and they will correct the error to move on to next phase of the sign up. And in Instagram also, when you double tap on a picture, it will give you emotional response. And even Facebook or any other application like YouTube, when you click on the like button, it will give a like quick animation and emotional response to your feedback to the screen. And in mobile cart, in this particular application, when you adding different items, and if you want to remove that item, you have to click on this particular red color cross. So it is also the cautious action you have to follow. So that is why it is in red color. So as I mentioned, when you try to close your Facebook account or anything, it shows up in a red color. So it is a potentially dangerous action. So that is why they are showing it in red color. So you have to be cautious. All right, next, orange color. It is an energetic and warm color, bringing the feeling of excitement. Orange combines red's power and yellow's friendliness. So it may bring feelings of motivation, enthusiasm, and love to life. Designers use the color if they need to give the spirit of creativity and adventure. So in the color wheel, orange placed next to red and yellow. So it has red's power and yellow's friendliness. So it used to demonstrate motivation, enthusiasm, and love to life. Designers, so if they need the spirit of creativity or adventure in the application, something like this, they can use this particular color. So if we take an example, let's say local, the Daras application have same color, and some other applications. Most of the shopping applications have this yellow color, like orange color as their accent color in their design. So they are going to give the feeling of creativity and adventure as well as motivation and enthusiasm to the users who are using these applications. And then a yellow color. This is the color of happiness, which symbolizes the sunlight, joy, and warmth. Yellow is thought to be the easiest color to visible and see. What's more, it has one of the most powerful psychological meanings. Users seeing yellow colors in the design can feel inspiration and confidence. Although you need to remember that too much yellow may bring negative reactions, such as the feeling of anxiety or fear. So yellow color is something that we experience in daily life. It is the color of sunlight as well. So that is why it is used into feel like demonstrate inspiration and confidence in your design. So even though it is a really good color, you have to make sure that you should use it with some other colors as well. So there are some matching colors with yellow. For an example, black and yellow, or lighter shade of yellow or darker shade of yellow with white and so on. So you have to make sure to combine this yellow color to make good effect of that. So in here we have yellow color main text, whereas some yellow color accent in this border as well. So we have to use it sparingly with other colors. Next we have green color. So we talk about red and then orange and then yellow. Now we have green color. It's often called the color of nature, balance and harmony. Green brings of growth and inexperience. It has more positive energy than most of the colors, but sometimes it associates with materialism. Designing green colors perfectly suits the products connected with nature, calming and renewing feelings. Also, it is a sign. So most of the time when like the product is something eco-friendly, or if you're trying to save the nature, most of the users use this green color in their applications. So it gives demonstrate positive energy to the users as well as calming and renewing feelings for the users. So you see this color in most of the eco-friendly products, or if they're trying to reduce carbon footprint by creating particular application like bicycle riding application or ride sharing application or anything, you can demonstrate your ideas or your graphics using green color. So in here we have this particular layout. It is about the nature, so they can use green color background and with the red color and white accent as well. So in almost all the application use green colors to state like demonstrate success state in their application. So it is combined to success as well. Submit buttons, and also if they want to give us a good deal, this is the recommended area. If it is recommended, they will highlight it in green color as well. So users will feel it is something that we can select, and they will select that particular plan. All right. In Stripe, actually, while red means stop, green means go. That is why green can be used to encourage users to participate in some activity. So most of these applications use green color accent to most prominent button, call to action button in their design. So even in Slack, the highlighted or the current active chat you are in is highlighted in green color. So it is something that they use in other chat applications as well. For an example, Stripe prompts users to sign up with green button, like here. And the other button is some other color, secondary color. So if you compare these two, like the green color on the left-hand side and the red color on the right-hand side, when we do an A/B testing. A/B testing is something like this. You launch a product. For an example, let's say we are launching this kind of a landing page with a button and some information. So 50% of your users will get this particular green color variant, whereas other 50% get the red color variant. So after that, after some time, we analyze the conversion rates. How many users click this particular button and how many users click this particular button? How many conversions, how many people buy our product, and so on. So when comparing these two, the green color button, most users tend to click on the green color one when comparing to this red one, and they have more conversion rates, and this particular version made more money when comparing to the red color. So that is something about the color psychology as well. Okay, blue color. It often represents some corporate images since blue is the color of trust. It usually shows reliability, may give users calming feelings. However, as a color, it also associates with distance and sadness. So designers need to keep it in balance. All right. Blue color, I think most of the applications, most of the banking applications we interact with have blue color accent. Even PayPal and even applications like LinkedIn or Facebook have this blue color. I'm sorry. So they want to build trust and show you reliability about their platform, especially in the case of the banking application. They want to build trust, or even PayPal, wallet like PayPal or any other application. This is the message. This is the feeling that they want to give you in order to make you come to their platform and use it in daily basis. And even using too much of blue color will give users a different meaning. So you have to make sure you use it with other colors and combination of other colors as well. And next we have purple color. Purple long associated with royalty and wealth since many kings wore purple clothes. It's usual for presenting some luxurious products. It is also a color of mystery and magic. It mixes the energy of red and blue, so it has a balance of power and stability. A big concentration of the color may distract users' mind. So if you want to represent some luxurious product, or if you want to give a message about some mystery or magical product, you can use purple color. So if you take some brands such as some insurance companies in US, like UK, they use this color. Even in Sri Lanka, some companies are using purple color. So they trying to promote some luxurious product and mystery and magic in their product or service that they are providing. So in here we have a purple color accent design with other matching purple and the blue and red shades. Next we have pink color. It is the color of hope, sensitivity, and romance. Pink is much softer than red, so it creates a sense of unconditional love. Pink is associated very strongly with youthful femininity. It may be an effective color if the target audience is mostly girls and young women. So even if it is a digital product or a physical product, for some reason, most of the kids products, even for the infants or anyone, is in pink color. So it is kind of like associated with youthful femininity, as well as it's provide the sensitivity or romance feeling for the users. So most of the applications like designed to promote to girls, for an example, the makeup application, or it can be a pregnancy tracker or something like that. It has a yellow color accent attached to it. So it understand their target users and trying to come up with a design to address their target users. So even here, we have yellow color accent and yellow color buttons as the design. Okay, next we have brown color. The color of security and protection, like the Mother Earth. Designers commonly use brown as a background color in a variety of shades. From the very light to deep, it brings the feeling of warmth and comfort to the designs. Also, it may be used to show experience and reassurance. So, like green color, brown is also a earth color, a natural color we can see every day. So it is trying to give users the feeling of warmth and comfort as well. And also it shows the experience and reassurance. So like in this particular jewelry application, they use a brown color accent to represent their like main text as well as the details about the product, and even the cart and other accents. Main accent color is brown color. Whereas black color, the color has a great number of meanings. It associates with tragic situations and death. It signifies a mystery. It can be traditional, modern, serious. Everything depends on how you employ it and which colors go with it. Black matches well with any other color, so it's ideal for a background. Designers often use it to set contrast. So as you can see in this menu, we have black color. So when we talk about black color, nowadays there's a design trend. Most of the application have dark mode as well. So in order to like when in the dark mode, we have dark color, black color background, whereas foreground text can be gray or either white or some other accent. So main idea about this dark theme is to reduce the like number of lights. You have number of pixels in your screen. It will reduce the lighting. It will reduce the energy consumption of your phone, which will eventually affect the globe as well. So it will try to reduce the carbon footprint that each of these devices are uh, exposing to the atmosphere as well. And also, if you take for an example, the application like Spotify, first they launched this application, they had this dark color background by default. Black color and the green color were the accent color. So during that launch, prior to that, the Apple Music was the main competitor, and they were doing quite good when prior to Spotify. So when one of the interviews that Spotify found when they interviewing, the main function that they want to impress their users was to have this kind of a thing. So users will tend to use the application more freely. So it will give you more, like if you're looking at a wide screen for longer hours, it will give you some eye strains as well. But if you look at a black color screen with this kind of accent, it will not give you so much of eye strain or anything like that, and it will save your phone's energy as well, because number of pixels are like you don't have to light up all the pixels, only few of the accent colors have to light up. So that is the idea behind Spotify, and one of the reasons it is more successful than any other like streaming applications, music streaming application, is it's this design decision that they took in the beginning. If you read their story, and they have documentation in Netflix as well, so it will tell you the story. And then we have white color. The color means purity and innocence, as well as wholeness and clarity. White often associates with a blank sheet of paper, motivating people to generate new ideas. However, too much white can cause feelings of isolation and emptiness. So it is when you try to draw something, even in artboard, we have a white color background. So that is the same concept that we are finding in the digital world. When you try to design something in Figma or even Photoshop or even Illustrator, they give us a white color artboard. So we are so familiar with it. Even during our childhood, when you try to design something, you always get a white color. So it is a blank sheet of paper, and you can be creative, and you can design whatever you want without any limitations when you have that kind of a background. And these are the meanings that white color represent: purity and innocence, as well as wholeness and clarity. In design, white is commonly used as a background color, especially for the resources for which readability is a vital part. So if you have a text-rich, content-rich website, like blog or a news article, news website, you can use a white color background and uh, contrasting black color text on it to increase the readability of the product. So in here, we have white color background, and right side we have text, which is very readable when comparing to some other designs we have here. All right. So we will take a quick break, 15-minute break, and after that we will discuss about color meaning in branding. So we'll see you at 10:44. Welcome back, everyone. So we talked about different colors before the break, and now we have to do color meaning in branding. So colors are a vital factor for not only the visual appearance of products, but also brand recognition. In branding, colors tend to have more direct meanings. In branding, colors tend to have more direct meanings than in common understanding. They can be briefly described within a few words. So here is the list for you. So colors, like different colors are bind to different brands. For example, if you take Coca-Cola, you have red color. So that is one of the most successful brands in the world. So everywhere that you see Coca-Cola brand, it like bind with the red color, their color. And if you take some other food chains like KFC, they also use in red color, and McDonald's is yellow, and so on. So different brands using different colors to build their brand recognition and awareness. And these are the different human emotions that we trying to describe using these colors. Red color is confidence, youth, and power, and whereas orange, friendly, warm, and energetic feeling. Yellow, happiness, optimism, and warmth. Green, peace, growth, and health, whereas blue, trust, security, and stability. Purple, luxurious, creative, and wise. Black, reliable, sophisticated, and experienced. White, simple, calm, and clean. So red color can be used in applications that uh, primarily targeting like youths, teenagers, and so on. Whereas orange color is using in sports gear or any other sports related gym or like meal planning applications, we can use orange color. Whereas the yellow color is using in, the applications that focuses on youths, such as, we can take some examples. The Snapchat is it's in yellow color, whereas in Sri Lanka, the Pick Me app is using yellow color. You have examples of these applications as well. So as I said, the green color can be used to peace, growth, and health. It can use to represent like eco-friendly applications, like travel experience applications, like TripAdvisor and so on, where they have to interact with the nature as well. And blue color, trust, security, and stability. Most of the banking applications are using blue color accent to represent that. And also applications like Facebook, LinkedIn are using uh, different shades of blue color. And if you have a luxurious products, creative and wise product, we have purple color. So some of the insurance companies, especially in UK as well as in Sri Lanka, we have SoftLogic, they are using purple color. So they are trying to give you a luxurious feeling and creative feeling with their product and branding. And black color is reliable, sophisticated, and experienced. Most of these companies use black color with combination of their accent color to give this feeling to their users. White color is simple, calm, and clean. So most of the applications that involve creating designs or word processors or anything, they take the physical world example. Most of us used to write on blank paper, which is white color. So that is why word processing and designing tools, most of them have a white color artboard to do your designs. So those are the different meanings of like different colors we are using in our applications. So the color preferences. Blue is the top color. Both men and women of all ages think of blue as their favored color. Brown and orange are in this slide. The first one is considered less favorable among men. The brown is less favorable among men, whereas the orange color is less favorable among women. This is based on the statistics and the research done by the Interaction Design Foundation and other groups. Cool colors are preferred. Men and women favor blue, green, and their tints in general. So when comparing warm colors and cool colors, most of the users, even though they are men or women, they favor colors with cool colors are preferred. Women like tints. When men prefer pure or shaded colors, ladies are good with tints, lighter value than the hue of that color. Men prefer achromatic colors. White, black, and gray are natural colors, and men are keen to choose them. So if we put these in a graph, you can see on the left-hand side, most of the men prefer blue color, 57%, and whereas 35% women also like blue color. So that is the highest number of like preferred color. And also we have green color, and also then even women like purple color, 23%, and green color 14%, and least like color is orange here, where it is 5%, and the gray is 1%, and white is 1%, and so on. All right. Now, when selecting a color for your designs, these are some points that you should consider. First, color psychology is rather complex to understand and learn. However, it may become an efficient tool in designers' hands, helping to understand users and their demands. So if you want to become a good UX designer, UI designer, visual designer, you have to learn about color psychology as well. So when you're empathizing with your users, you understand your users, like end users. These are the things that they want in our application. So if you're designing your application for particular people, like for an example, let's say you're designing your application for the professionals, and you have to consider selecting some colors that represent their particular category, like blue color and so on. So if your application is for the girls or teenage girls or someone like that, you should consider selecting colors based on their requirement. Something like purple or something like pink will be better choice than the blue or other colors. So next one, choose colors wisely. They have a deep influence on the users. So you have to choose your colors wisely, because some of the colors, let's say for an example, they represent different meanings in different cultures as well. For an example, in Sri Lanka, we have different colors to represent different demographics in our flag also. So some countries consider these colors, like, you have to make sure you don't offend anyone or anything when you are choosing colors as well. So you have to think about their cultural values and everything that represent in these colors. You have to choose them wisely. Make sure your design and its colors convey the right message and tune. Okay, so when you're designing your colors, when you're designing your user interfaces, you have to make sure you try to convey the right message. Let's say you try to get users' attention to click or sign up to your account, and you put a red color button there. So that doesn't represent the message that you want to give them. So make sure you try to convey the message by using right color and the tune. A tune can be, you don't have to make the color shade that you are using should be easy to look into as well. So if you're using green color accent to your sign up button, make sure to use a good prominent green color that doesn't distract users' eyes or give them eye strain or something like that. Make sure it should be a calm color as well. Next, when selecting a color, we have to learn target audience as well. The color preferences and meanings depend on many factors, including age, gender, and culture. So as I mentioned earlier, if we are designing this product to kids or teenagers, we have to select different kinds of colors. We have to select playful colors, whereas we have to, if we need to generate an application for professionals or older generations, for professionals, we have to make sure we are using professional colors. For older generations, we have to consider the accessibility as well, because most of the elder generation have some visual impairment. So you have to consider right colors where they can see all the colors and they can understand what the UI is about. So gender even have preferences, as I mentioned earlier. So you have to consider that as well. And the culture. So culture is also, some colors are representing different cultures. Some cultures have different meanings to different colors. So if you consider, when you're doing the design, you have to consider all these aspects as well. Okay, some colors may look different on the screens of different devices. Additional testing never hurts. So if you know that there are different color profiles for your devices. For the Apple, they have different RGB levels in their displays, whereas Samsung uses different color profiles in RGB levels. And also some other devices, even Windows, Dell, or some other screens, they have different RGB profiles. So red and green and blue, they have different warm colors, different light colors and everything. So you have to make sure you test your designs by using all these color profiles. So you can access different color profiles using applications on the web as well. And you can test your designs by generating a JPEG or a PNG or an image and put it there and see all the different variation of different color profiles. Is it good? Is it highlighting? Is it readable? So you can understand and change your colors, contrast or anything to match the match and make sure it work on different color profiles as well. All right. It may be a good idea to test the UI colors with representatives of the target audience. So if your target audience are from elder generation, especially for the banking application or anything, it is a good idea to test those colors that you already choose with those users. So if they when they try to do some task, try to achieve something by using your product, if they don't like the color during the testing, they will let you know. So you can change your color, or you can change the shade of your color and make sure that it accommodates those users' requirement, and make sure it is a successful product in the end for the end users that using your product uh, as well. So good idea to test UI colors with representative of the target audience. Try to make the color combinations wisely in the best way for the user's perception. So when you are combining two or three different colors, it is a good practice to combine two or three colors max when you doing your designs. If you're going further than that, you have to have a good understanding about color psychology, because otherwise it will distract users. So you have to make sure you combine your colors wisely. So let's say, for an example, if you have a blue color uh, accent, you can combine it with either black or white. Or there can be some other colors you can combine with white and other colors as well. So you have to do color combinations wisely. Now we are going to talk about color theory. Any questions?
All good, sir.
Okay. Color theory is the collection of rules and guidelines which designers use to communicate with users through appealing color schemes in visual interfaces. So when selecting colors, or when interacting with different colors, or trying out different colors in your layouts, you have to consider this collection of rules and guidelines designers use to communicate with their users. So this is the color wheel. So these are primary colors, as you already know: red, blue and yellow, whereas these are the secondary colors, which has red, green and blue, as well as the colors in between, the orange color, the purple color, as well as the green color. And the full color wheel, it has all these colors. We have the main colors: yellow, red and blue, and all the colors in between them. So this graphic I got it from Interaction Design Foundation. So it is one of the design governing body that founded by Don Norman. I introduced you one book last week written by Don Norman as well. So it is one of the like accredited institute that provide UX certifications as well as UX training for different UX professionals. So these are some color schemes. Number one is monochromic. Monochromic color wheel, we only selecting one color. So in this example, we are selecting yellow color. So we can select red or any other, but only one color. Then we have analogs, where we can select three colors that next to each other in the color wheel. If you select yellow, you can select this lighter green or this lighter orange. And if you select this blue color, you can either select this purple or lighter shade of the blue color. And complementary is the like opposite color to each other. If you take this yellow, it can be purple. If you take this red color, it can be green color. Split complementary, it is something like this. When you select in one color, you are not selecting the color directly opposite to that, but next to that opposite color, we are selecting. So that is split complementary. Yellow color, we can select dark blue and the pink color, and so on. And triad is one color combination that mostly used in print industry. So if you have color wheel, you can select colors that let's say in 60-degree angle. So if you select this yellow color, sorry, 120-degree angle, if you select this yellow color, you can select red or this blue color. And if you select this purple color, it can be either this lighter green or this blue color, and so on. And then we have tetradic, which is the four colors in the color wheel in a 90-degree angle. So you can select one of these colors, the yellow color, purple color, or colors next to these as well, the orange color as well as lighter blue or mint color. So the difference between RGB and CMYK. So RGB is the colors that we are using in digital devices like web devices or any screens, whereas CMYK is used for print media. So you have to make sure, let's say your application consists of printing some designs. Your application have, let's say banking application, and you want to allow users to print their design. So if it is having some colors like blue or some other colors, you have to make sure you test it in printed media as well. Otherwise, it will look different in CMYK version. All right. And also if you are trying to design something, even if you're a UX designer, if you're trying to design a leaflet or something, make sure you do it in CMYK format. Otherwise, most of the printers don't support this RGB. Even if they convert automatically from RGB to CMYK, it's a good practice to do it in CMYK because you know what are the colors that we will get when it is printed as well. All right, now we are going to talk about each of these colors and color combinations. So number one is monochromatic actually. It is based on one color with various tones and shades of it. So if we take this yellow color, we can take lighter shade of yellow or darker shade of yellow, but we are not going to take the color of the lighter orange or lighter green, but we are going inside this particular yellow color. For an example, let's say if we take yellow color here and then another, so we have that yellow color in the middle, and we are going to create a lighter version of yellow for this and some darker version of yellow for that. So that is what it is representing. The monochromic harmony is always a winning choice since it's hard to make a mistake and create a distasteful color scheme. So if you are starters to UX design, it is always a good practice to use this monochromatic color wheel. So you won't make a mistake because when you are using one color only, you don't have to combine any other colors. So you don't have to worry about the combination. You can just select one color, one accent, and use it in your designs. So in here, we are using the blue color background and the shades of the blue color. And there is some white color accent as well. So this idea of this particular design is to represent something related to space. You can see the astronaut and spaceship and everything. So it is representing the sky, and the color that they are choosing is representing the idea that they want to give to the users. Next, we have analogs. Analogs is colors are colors next to each other. To create analogs harmony, you need to use colors located right next to each other on the color wheel. This type of color scheme is used for the design where no contrast is needed, including the background of web pages of banners. So as you can see, we can use 3 different colors that next to each other in the color wheel. All right, in this design here, they are using these 3 colors, the blue, dark blue color, light blue color, and the purple color in their design. And next we have complementary color scheme. The complementary scheme is the mix of colors placed in front of each other on the color wheel. So as you can see here, this scheme is opposite to analogs and the monochromatic since it's aimed to produce high contrast. For example, the orange button on a blue background is hard to miss in any interface. So if we take these 2 colors, purple and yellow, let's say we have a design here, and our background is my background color is this. And if you put a button in here with a yellow color background, can change the font size to 32 so you can see it clearly. So you can see it is really like visible, and users can click it really easily. So if you are using complementary colors, even if you select some 2 different colors, for an example, let's say for this color, I'm going to choose some other color. You can see it is really readable, and it is like prompting users to click the button easily without any distractions from the background or anything. So this scheme is opposite to analogs and monochromatic since it aims to produce high contrast. For example, the orange button on the blue background is hard to miss in any interface. So in here we have this infographic where it uses blue color background like here, and it uses yellow color scheme. So it is easily distinguishable, and users can see what is it about easily. So contrasting colors. And then we have split complementary. This scheme works similar to the previous one, but it employs more colors. So it is similar, but it is using 2 colors next to the opposite color. For instance, if you choose the yellow color, you need to take two others which are adjacent to its opposite color, meaning blue and pink, like this. The contrast here is less sharp than in complementary scheme, but it allows using more colors. So you can use more colors even if it is less contrasting when comparing to complementary. So this application is using two different colors. They are using the red color and the colors opposite to this lighter yellow and the tint color. Okay, now we have triadic. When the designs require more colors, you can try triadic scheme. It is based on three separate colors which are equidistant on the color wheel. So equal, the distance is equal. To save the balance in with this scheme, it is recommended to use one color as a dominant and others are accents. So when you are using triad color scheme, make sure you use one color as a dominant color, like at least more than 50% you have to use that color and other colors as accent colors in order to make a color balance. So in here, the dominant color is red color, whereas they are using other colors for the stickers. Okay, next we have double complementary. The tetradic color scheme is for the experienced designers since it is the most difficult to balance. It employs four colors from the wheel which are complementary pairs. If you connect the points on the chosen colors, they form a rectangle like this. The scheme is hard to harmonize, but if you do everything right, the result will be stunning. So it is something that you have when you have experience, when you do so many designs and use so many colors. With the experience, you will be able to match the colors in tetradic color wheel as well. So this is something that they use. This is actually the application designed for students. So they are using this kind of a design. It is not really nice, but they are they have selected colors based for the different levels and different categories in the application. So these are some tools that you can use to select colors and create different gradients and so on. So let's see the first link. So you can create different color combinations and color palettes using this particular application. It will give you like predefined color schemes and you can easily drag the hex codes of each of these and paste it in your design and generate design. So for an example, let's say when you click here, it will give you the hex code and you can select it and do your designs in Figma or any other software that you are using. Like if we need that color as a background, we can just paste that hex code we have copied already right here, and it will change the color like this. And we can add other colors in same color palette as well. Or you can download the color palette by exporting. Next one, we have material design. Material design is something that introduced by Google to their system, Android and mobile application development. So these are the colors they are using in material design. So they have different combinations when you're using like this purple. Purple have different variation. Purple 50, purple 100, 200, 300 from lighter version to the darker version, even for other colors as well. And color supply and is another application. Okay, that site is not working. I can give you another example, which is widely used in these days for the front-end development, the Tailwind. It has also different color combinations. So if we take this color, the slate 50 is this, and darker version is 950. So it has different color combinations you can use, and even the developers will find it easy if you use these color combinations, these color codes in their design. So they can easily follow and do the CSS within the Tailwind itself without using custom code in their designs. Okay, gradients in UI design. Using gradients, designers can make bold statements. So if you take Instagram logo, it has different shades of like blue color, the purple color, as well as yellow color and also orange color. Gradients give icon more depth and dimension. Gradient help create something new and unexpected. Even a tiny element such as a logo can be exciting if you apply a gradient to it. So in Figma, you can apply gradients. Let's say I'm creating a graphic like this. Let's say this is the graphic I have. I'm going to color this in white color. And for this one, I'm going to create a gradient. So Figma, you have to go to the fill color and select gradient and select two colors that you like. So I'm going to choose these two colors. Let's say this one, this one. So this is how you can create a gradient. So you can create either linear gradient or even radial gradient like this, or even angular gradient, and even diamond shape gradient as well. So you can play with different colors and different focal points in the colors in Figma as well. Next, by using gradients, we can empathize certain elements. Take a look at homepage example below. Text messages and call to action buttons plays a key role in this layout, and gradient background visually prioritize these elements. So you can see the accent, the call to action buttons are highlighted in this uh, red color shade, whereas the background is a gradient. So live example, if I show you website like Stripe, they have this kind of a similar background. It is animated background, but they have similar representation of the head, like main text and the graphic as well. So most of the users, they tend to, when they first open your website, their eyes will be focused to left-hand side of your screen. So all the information that you want to give them should be on the left-hand side. Even we are reading newspaper or book, the first thing that we uh, focus on is the left-hand side top of a book or a newspaper or anything. So that is same thing applies here as well. So that is why they are trying to promote by creating this kind of a gradient, and users focus area will be on this particular screen, and they have a call to action button here as well. Learn basic types of gradients. Number one, linear gradient. To create a linear gradient, you need to specify two colors or two tints of the one color. Okay, so in here, I showed you how to create a linear gradient. We selected two colors, and these are the colors. Let's say we are selecting two different colors, so you can easily see the difference. With these two colors. And then we have radial gradients, which are similar to linear gradients, except they are radiate out from a central point. As a designer, you can dictate where that central point should be and specify the size of the gradient. So you can change the linear gradient to radial gradient, and you can change the focal point of this target point of this gradient as well. And you can spread it out more, and you can change, make sure like you have more yellow color or more second color and more purple color and so on. All right, next we have conic gradient is similar to a radial gradient. Both are circular and use the center of the element as the source point of colors for color stops. However, for a radial gradient, the color stops emerge from the center of the circle, while the conic gradient places color stops around the circle. Okay, so the conic one has a different name here, the angular. So it has this kind of, you can play with the like target point. You can change it, you can increase the size of it, and you can decrease the size, and also you can change the angle of the color, and you can use different shades as well. So even I'm showing this to you on Figma. Most of the other image editing or graphic designing or vector creating, even UX platforms use similar color gradients as well. Even Photoshop or Illustrator, Adobe XD, and even SketchUp has similar colors. So you can apply these things in every image editing or visual designing software you are using. Okay. And in Figma, we have one more, the diamond shape. So you can change the size and change the size of the diamond as well. You can change the alignment, you can spread it out more and match your designs, customize your designs accordingly. These are some tips for creating an impressive gradient. Don't choose colors randomly. So if you try to select random colors, like in the color wheel opposite to each other, it will give you this kind of a gradient. So it is not really nice when comparing to this blue color one. It is better to use either analog colors, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, or shades of the same color, shades of the blue. So it is a good recommendation to use colors next to each other, similar colors, rather than selecting colors next to each other, like colors opposite to each other in the color wheel. Create smooth transition. So transition between colors should be really smooth. Ideally, the user shouldn't notice the place where one color flows into another. So for an example, if I change this to linear gradient, and I'm going to use something blue for the second color as well. Okay, let's say this one. So you can't clearly see when the colors are changing, like when, what is the point? And if you change it, like take a look at the following example right here. It create an abrupt transition. So your transition should be smooth. You can notice the line that separates two colors. This line create an impression of an abrupt transition. So if you don't use something like this, let's say you are using this kind of a transition. So you can clearly see when it is dividing between two different colors. So it is not a good user experience for users when you do gradient in your designs. So most of the times the users or UX designers use these gradients in call to action buttons or even cards or anything. So you have to make sure you use transitions, smooth transitions overall in your designs as well. And it also convey emotion or mood. Colors evoke emotional responses. We can use this color property to connect with the audience on a deeper level. Bright, bold colors stir positive feelings. So if you go to applications who try to promote motivation or good energy or something related to working out, gym, or something like that, you can use this kind of a color combination. So even if in this particular airline, they are using a similar kind of a layout, the gradient to get users' attention. So if you're using deep tones in your designs, it will bring calm to your users as well, rather than if you're using more contrasting colors, let's say red color or more bright colors, it will somewhat distract your users, and it won't convey the message that you want to give them. And in here, this particular application, they are promoting airline air ticket application. So they are using blue color background to represent the sky, and whereas other graphics, other gradients are using to represent different things that they can do by using the application. And next we have to, these are some things that we should not do when we are trying to design. Any questions so far? Next, we have to try to avoid acid colors. Acid in its original context referred to a bitter taste. Acid colors rarely work well in user interfaces because they demand too much attention. So if you don't have a solid design skills, it's safer to avoid using them in your UI, especially when you design a gradient. So avoid using acid colors if you don't have much experience. Even most of the experienced designers don't use acid colors, specifically in the use cases where they have to design a website for let's say, for an artist or a DJ any entertainment industry related website. You can use acid colors to represent that particular idea. But most of the time, we avoid using acid colors because it is taking some time and it taking some effort to match all the other UI elements when we have acid color background. Use gradient to direct the eye to the certain part of the screen. You can use gradient to create focal points. It's specifically helpful for smaller elements such as call to action buttons. So as I showed you in Stripe, they are using this gradient to get attention to left hand side, this particular area of the screen. So and the call to action button is also there. So even here in this particular mobile application, we have the call to action button in yellow color and orange color gradient, and all the graphs as well. So it is getting our attention to that particular part of the screen. Don't forget about color contrast. No matter how beautiful your design is, you should not forget about accessibility. Always check the color contrast ratio. So if you select this left-hand side design, it is really hard to read with the background because background is also having a gradient, and also the foreground text is also consistent gradient. So it is really hard to read. And on the right-hand side, it is really easy to read. So when you are combining these two colors, if your background gradient is really dark, you should put foreground like text color in white. But if it is lighter, you have to consider using much darker version of the text like black or some darker color in your matching your designs. So you can use these special tools to create gradients as well. So they have different colors and color wheels, color combinations that the designers already used in their designs, and you can use these color combinations in your designs as well. And you can create gradients by using different colors. So and they name them differently, and you can generate different gradients for flare and different other types as well from here, like this. Now we have dark mode. What exactly is a dark mode first? A dark mode is a night-friendly color theme that mainly focuses on using dimmed gray colors for surface and UI elements. Darker colors reflect less light while still providing a great reading experience. As a design pattern, a dark mode is usually living across the user interface as a toggle. The dark mode is designed to be supplemental to the system's default. So when you take your laptop or a mobile or anything, it has appearance and different color modes, light, dark, or auto. So if I put light mode, it will change to light. If I put dark mode, everything will be in the dark version. So if I put auto mode, it will go back to this. So in the night time, it will give us dark mode, whereas in the daytime, it will give us light mode. So we can use that system function in our websites as well. So for an example, let's go to this website. So it is right now using light version. So if I change my color settings from my system to dark, the website will also have get the dark version. So we can just by using different like in Tailwind itself, we have different color versions. So if you into front-end development, you can use Tailwind to implement your website and have a toggle button to toggle between light and dark mode, or you can use system default settings in your designs. All right, next. So if you take a device such as Amazon Kindle, so it has two different, the main use case is to read books. So it has two different colors, white and black. So you can toggle between black color text and white color text, and the background color also will be different. So if you select darker version, it will give you dark background and the foreground text will be gray or white. Whereas if you go for the default or lighter version, it looks like a book. So white color background and the text, foreground text will be black. So when they compare two different users, so most of the users find it easy to read by using a dark background, especially because of it is a screen. So if when you are trying to look into a screen for longer hours, it is really hard. So it's not like reading a book. So they made sure that they implement dark version in the Kindle as well. Even for the reading applications in your mobile, most of these have dark version. Most of the rich, like text-rich websites, like news websites or blog article websites have dark version. So it is easy for users to read and they can use their devices for longer hours as well, because it reflects less light and you don't have to light up all the pixels in the screen. As a design pattern, a dark mode is usually living across the user interface as a toggle. The dark mode is designed to be supplementary to the system's default or light theme. Dark theme is a good marketing move for making your UI stand out among similar brands or products. The deep, heavy backgrounds can become a perfect addition to your brand visuals. So one application that uses this from the beginning, as I mentioned, is Spotify. So all the other applications such as YouTube and every application we use nowadays, social media application have dark mode implemented in their backend or the front end of the application. Dark mode as a feature can help reduce eye strain when operating your product. Especially if your product is heavy with text, a dark mode can help enhance your users' retention and focus. So as I mentioned in the example in Amazon Kindle, users' attention when they're reading a book they have more attention span when they have a black background and white text as foreground text when comparing to white background and black text. Dark mode can potentially save your phone energy because it is not trying to light all the pixels. Dark mode consumes 6 times less power on your screen by emitting less light and as a result can prolong your app lifespan and usage time. So it is beneficial for you, your device. You can use it for longer hours as well. So healthier to read against dark surfaces. So especially when you are trying to read using a digital device, it is healthier to read using dark interface, dark surfaces. All right. Any questions so far? You can ask using chat as well. Avoid plan your color use. Avoid or limit white on pure black colors. You can use pure black as a background for dark mode. So as for an example, let's say we have these two designs. So on the left hand side, we have black color background, whereas on the right hand side as well, we have a black color, but the text color is different. The heading is the left hand side has white color text, whereas right hand side has a much gray color text. So it will save energy and it will improve the readability of your designs as well. So brand new dark color. To make your dark mode more unique, use a much darker version of your primary brand color as a surface. So let's say your brand color is blue color. So in order to make it more prominent, more unique, your design more unique, you can use that very dark version of that blue color as your background color by not using the black color as the background, but your version of darker blue color. And we have to avoid fully saturated colors in dark mode. So for an example, let's say on left hand side, we have this saturated blue color here, and even the online green color is very saturated. You can clearly see how it is. You can see the boundaries. So whereas in here, we can clearly see, and it is really easy to user's eye as well. And also we can use black color to communicate depth in your design elements as well. Use a scale of lighter colors to translate the elevation. Avoid using shadows in dark mode. So you don't have to use shadows in the dark mode because shadows itself are dark, as we can see. So what we can do is we can change our foreground and background color, and it will automatically create an effect when users look into our design. So lower elevation, in order to show lower elevation, we can use darker colors, whereas higher elevation, we can use lighter gray as our background, and even we can put a border to distinguish between these two, foreground and background. Ensure your dark mode contrast. Dark mode, just as the light, should meet the minimum required WCAG standards to ensure all text is legible with enough contrast. So you have to make sure to follow all these like standards when you are selecting background and foreground colors. If you Google for it, so in EU, they have governing bodies to create different UX standards. So that is why we have to consider all this when we are designing different color modes in your designs. You can use plugins to check your contrast design right in place. In Figma, if you go to your plugins, and you can search for different tools where you can select your design and look for the correct contrast ratio. They will give you the identical or recommended level of your design and the background and foreground colors if you use that particular tool. Okay, design light mode first. So even if you have a dark mode and most of the users prefer dark mode, while bringing your designs from light to dark mode, keep all the visual cues in place. Don't ignore or remove some colors for the sake of dark theme, not to confuse users. So the idea behind this is that we used to do all our designs in light color background. Even if you good in drawing, you always use white color canvas to draw your designs. So most of us are used to it, and we have our creativity, and we can have limitless creativity when we have a bright color background. So we don't have to worry about, will this color look good in dark version? Will this color look good in light version? So we can be creative and use our colors without an issue. So these are some plugins that we can use to create dark and light mode versions. Number one is this one, the appearance plugin. You can create your designs and create some, follow this plugin and create a dark and light versions of your application. And even Dark Mode Magic and Cameo are some plugins that you can create to use to create dark and light mode versions. But I will show you how to create dark and light mode from by on Figma without using plugin. So here, let's say we have an artboard. I'm going to use a phone, and let's say this one. And this is the light mode I'm going to design. So I'm going to name the artboard as light. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image here. Say this one. Right. Now I'm going to put some text as well. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two inside a frame again and give it a different lighter version of white color. Let's say I'm going to change the color of the background to lighter version. Let's add some border radius. For the image as well. And do auto layout and add some padding. So in order to make it responsive and to create more components, what we can do is we can select our main frame, and there's an option called auto layout. So we can select auto layout and it will give us these options. So number one is the vertical gap between elements. So it will change the gap between the image and the text. So let's change that to 30. And the padding. So this is horizontal padding. So we can change that value to whatever the value we like. Let's change it to 16 and it will give us 16 pixels padding. So I'm going to change it back to 8 and it will look like this. All right, so this is our lighter version of the design, and I'm going to create a button as well. In order to create a button, first I'm going to create the button text. Let's say a button label is read more. I'm going to change the font size for better visibility to, let's say, 20. And we can add an icon. So the plugin I'm using to add icons is Google's material symbols. So how you can add this plugin is you can search for plugins, let's say material symbols, and it will pop up. So when you go there, it will give you an option like this to run this plugin and install it in your design. So I'm already installed it. So I'm going to open it. So it will give you all these icons that they have in a Google material design library. So if I go to Google Fonts, they have all these icons here. So if you don't have that plugin installed in your design, you have to go to Google Fonts and then download the SVG and then get that SVG from your design and drag it to your design, and long process. So if you install this, you can easily do it by opening that particular plugin. So read more button, I'm going to use arrow. So this one, so I'm going to keep it here. So you can align your items by selecting one text item and press the shift key and select the other item you want to align. And then you can select this align vertical centers. So it will align itself. And it will also show you these guidelines. So let's see, it is not aligned now, right now. So if you align it correctly, it will show up like this. And I'm again going to put these inside a frame. So always make sure when you are doing design, don't group them, put it inside a frame. It will give you options like auto layout. Otherwise, it won't give you options like auto layout. So when you're grouping elements, grouping is actually, you can use it to create a design element such as infographic or a graphic or a logo, anything. You can create a design and group it. But for the UI design, make sure you create a frame selection, not group selection, frame selection. So it will give you these extra properties like auto layout and so on. So I'm going to create the gap between these two elements is 8, and let's add a background color so you can easily see it. So we learn how to add a gradient. So I'm going to use a gradient here as well. The first color I'm going to use is this, and the second color is this. And the text color and the icon color I'm going to use is white. Okay. Now we have to add some padding. So to do that, what we can do is we can add horizontal padding. So I'm going to give it 30. And for the vertical padding, I'm going to give it, let's say 50. Okay, this is our button. Let's add some padding to button as well. Sorry, corner radius. So let's give it 10 pixels. So this is our button now. And I'm going to put it inside our main design as well. So what I can do is I can quickly drag this and put this inside here. So it will give me this kind of a design. So now I want my design elements, my image to be in the center, and my text should be as it is, like left aligned. And I want my button to be centered. So right now it is not centered. So what I can do is I can put this button inside a frame again. So and add auto layout and select fill container, and then select auto layout from here, like center line from here, and it will give me design like this. Now I don't need this much of space right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this paragraph size, and also I need more space after the call to action button, so we can customize our sizes. So this is the bottom padding. I'm going to change it to 16, so it will give me, let's say, 24. So it will add more padding beneath the button as well. So this is the light version of my design. Okay, so in order to create a dark version of the same thing, what I can do is, so let's name this. So I'm going to name the main layout as a wrapper. So I'm going to give it a name as wrapper. The frame 4 is the image holder, and we have image inside that. And this is my text, so I'm going to keep it as it is. And finally, we have call to action area, so I'm going to call it CTA, and inside that we have my button. All right, so this is the design element. I'm going to create the dark version as well. So these are some other buttons I created earlier. So in the light, we have this particular artboard or a frame. So in order to create dark version, what I can do is, the first thing I have to do is create a duplicate of this. What you can do is you can press Ctrl D in your keyboard and it will create the dark version. So let's call it dark. And in order to create the dark version, I'm going to change the fill color, something similar to black color, something closer to black color. Let's use something like this. And for the foreground, I'm going to use black color, and for the text should be white. I'm going to keep the button color as it is. So this is the dark version. So this is how you can create an component by using these two elements. The first thing you have to do is you have to select these two and then select on create component set. So first create the two artboards and go here and create component set. And we have a component. So let's call this a card. So card company. So we have properties dark and light. Let's say mode. So inside card component, we have dark mode and light mode. What I can do is so we have different variations as well. So let's say in the properties, we have mode, variant property, mode, dark and light. So if I add another variant, I can add variants, booleans, instance, swap. So I'm going to go into these in detail in our next sessions when we discuss about Figma. So if I add a boolean right here, it can be either true or false. So I'm going to make it a button, a toggle button. So I'm going to call it the name as dark mode. It can be either true or false. Dark mode. This one. dark mode false. All right, now we have this component. I'm going to remove this. So now we have this in our assets, local components library. So what we can do is we can quickly drag and drop one of these components in our design. And then if I switch on the dark mode, it will give us the dark mode. If I switch off the light mode, switch on the light mode, it will give the light mode. So this is how we can create different light and dark modes in our design. So if I show you an example, so this is how we can achieve that. So you can follow up this Figma task I did earlier and do your own designs as well. So in here we have designs that did in both light and darker versions. So in the light version, they are using this color, and the dark version, this color as a background. And you have to make sure you come up with a better designs for both designs. So you have to consider the readability and the background and foreground colors, as well as the compatibility between different colors and the operating system that you are using. So you have to consider all these when you are using light and dark versions of the colors. So all right. Use base colors to design dark mode. To make it predictable, turning your light themed UI to dark side, use the set of base or neutral colors with the same transparency values from the very start of your project. So for an example, these are the colors, that predefined colors we are going to use in our light color version of our design. And these are the dark version colors. So if you are using white color text in your design, white color background in your design, in the dark version, you can use this color. It is similar to black, but not exactly the black color. And you can use the same color in different opacity levels, like 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%, and so on. And even in the dark version, you can do the same thing, like this. And as I showed you earlier, in Tailwind also, they have these colors already. Let's see. Like starting from the lighter version up until to the darker version of the same color. So you can use these in both light and dark versions of your designs. Next one, don't overuse dark mode. If you're making a product for Mac or Windows users, it's a good to adapt your product theme to sync with users' current theme automatically. This can help users to feel at home, making a great first impression. So as I described you earlier, I already demonstrated it already from my previous slide. So system has like default auto setting to set up your dark or light. So if your website also supporting the same thing, it should switch on the light mode when users change their settings in their phone. So if it is not happening, users will think that this website is not functioning the way I want it to be, because most of the users prefer dark mode. They prefer to read your website content or anything in dark mode as well. So make sure you make that happen in your website or mobile application as well. So these are some useful resources that you should follow. Material dark theme guidelines. Material design is again from Google. So these are some guidelines given by them when converting your light mode design to dark mode design. You have to go through this and study about how you can achieve that. They have a toggle button right here, the icon, where we can toggle between light and dark modes as well. And dark mode UI inspiration, if you go to Dribble or Behance or anything and search for the term dark UI, you will get number of designs that users already have done. And you can get an idea and inspiration from these designs when you are designing your next UI or a web UI or a mobile UI. Figma tokens, it helps to adapt your screen design systems to multiple things. So if I install that particular plugin, I can create different versions of same design and I can use it in our variations or when we giving the components to our developers by switching on this development mode, which I'm going to talk to you when we do Figma practicals. Then we have contrast. A plugin help to check the contrast ratio of background and foreground elements. All right, so we covered up until the dark mode. So from next week, I'm going to talk about typography, and there are a few things that I need to cover, typographic principles and how to choose typography for your designs, and branding guideline creation. And after that, we are going to talk about UX laws and then Figma. So most probably most of the time next week, we are going to do Figma practical. So I invite you to create Figma, invited you to create Figma accounts last week. So I'm going to create artboards for every one of you right now. So you can practice what I already did. And if you have any questions, you can ask. So let's create this. I'm going to create desktop version. Oh no, let's create a mobile. This is for shop and we have you can practice this design. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So we are going to go in more detail about Figma next week, and also we are going to talk about typography and UX laws as well. So do you have any questions regarding today's session? Anything you can ask now.
Clear, sir.
Okay. How about Aisha?
All good for me, sir.
Okay. Pumi? How about Vital?
All clear, sir.
Okay. Okay. So try to do the Figma practical I did. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me through WhatsApp group chat. So let's see you next week, same time, 9 a.m. Have a nice day then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.